Hate is odio. Hater could technically be odiador. That's just not right. Hey guys, it's Holly. Welcome to another video. Today we are going to have some fun and learn a little bit on the side. For those of you who dabble in language learning, you probably already know that translations are really just approximations. Not all translations can be literal or word for word, simply because of the different resources that we have at our disposal in each language. Each language is rich in its own vocabulary, but some languages seem to have gaps in certain areas. Not only that, but other languages have words that have multiple meanings or convey certain nuances that are just really hard to translate and definitely impossible to translate with one simple word. Now, before I get started with this awesome list of 10 of my favorite English words that don't exist in Spanish, let me send a shout out to my sponsor. This video is brought to you guys by Squarespace, where you can make a sleek and unique professional looking website for your brand or business. Be sure to click that link in the description, squarespace.com/superholly, so you can get 10% off your first purchase. I will be chatting a little bit more about Squarespace later, but for now, let's kick off this list. The first English word that does not have a direct translation into Spanish is struggle. Y'all know the struggle is real. Now, I don't know about other languages, but as far as Spanish, which is the context that I'm always operating in, it's really hard to convey the meaning of this phrase. The first definition you'll find if you look it up is lucha, but lucha means more like battle or combat or fight. Luchar is to fight or to battle. Plus, you're somehow missing a little bit of the element of the effort that may or may not be taking you anywhere. You can seriously be struggling and sometimes not even be achieving that much. You also can struggle and not have an opponent. You're just struggling. I find it really interesting that the word struggle rhymes or kind of reminds me of the words wriggle and wiggle. So you get that connotation of a worm wriggling around or just squirming, you know? And of course, struggle can be a noun, the struggle is real, or a verb. I'm struggling to understand what you mean. In this second case, I feel like an accurate translation might be me está costando trabajo entender lo que quieres decir. Quite literally, it's taking a lot of effort for me to understand what you're trying to say. But at the end of the day, the word struggle is unique and unparalleled, and we should celebrate it. Because guys, the struggle is oh so real. Second English word that does not have a direct translation into Spanish. Now this one might be a little surprising for you guys. It is toe or toes. Yes, in Spanish we have to say dedos del pie, which quite literally means fingers of the foot. Yes, that's right. I remember when I found this out, I was quite flabbergasted, to say the least. We all know the feeling of kicking the corner of the bed, writhing in pain, and having someone ask us what happened. And it's like, I stubbed my toe! Well, imagine in Spanish, you have to say, me machuqué el dedo del pie. And my favorite part, guess how you say big toe in Spanish? Dedo gordo del pie. That literally means fat finger of the foot. I love it! The third English word that doesn't have a direct translation into Spanish? Lock. Now, if we're talking about the noun, there are a few options that do quite a good job. Candado, cerradura, or cerrojo. However, when we're talking about locking as a verb, there's just no one word to say it. You can say cerrar con llave, which means closing with a key. Cerrar con candado, which means closing with a lock. Again, lock as a noun, not as a verb. Or ponerle seguro a la puerta. Put the safety on the door. All of these convey the same thing that the word lock does, but there's no one word to say it. So if you're at a stoplight and a shady individual starts heading toward the car, you might say, lock the doors! In Spanish, you'd have to say, cierra las puertas con llave, or ponle seguro a la puerta. Hey, don't forget to lock the door. Oye, que no se te olvide ponerle seguro a la puerta. Yes, that really is how you say, hey, don't forget to lock the door. Oye, que no se te olvide ponerle seguro a la puerta. Spanish is fascinating, isn't it? Fourth English word that does not translate into Spanish directly is crush. Now ask any Spanish speaker and 95% of them, especially if they're millennials, will know what the word crush means. Specifically the kind of crush that may appear in an adolescent's dreams. I'm pretty sure that this concept of crush came from the original meaning of the word, which is to crush something. In Spanish, we would say moler, machacar, aplastar. And it probably has something to do with the way your heart feels when that special someone walks by and doesn't even blink at you. But yeah, in Spanish, there's no word quite like crush. You can say amor platónico, which means platonic love, and it refers to that ideal love that you'll probably never actually have. Kind of like a fantasy love. But a crush doesn't necessarily have to be someone that's unattainable, right? Word number 5 that just doesn't translate into Spanish is wave. Believe it or not. Now, I'm not talking about the waves of the ocean. That would be olas. Hay una infinidad de olas en el mar. There are an infinite number of waves in the ocean. I'm talking about this kind of wave. The thing that even babies learn before they can speak. Can you wave? Wave bye-bye to grandma. There is no word for this in Spanish. It's so frustrating. Now you can say saludar, but that more means to greet and it's not specific. Saludar could mean waving, yes, but it could also mean hola, ¿cómo estás? Or it could mean mua, mua. Saludar con la mano would mean to greet with the hand, but then again, you're not really differentiating between this and a handshake. There's simply a gap in the Spanish language because apparently nobody thought it was important to say this. The 7th English word that doesn't exist in Spanish, another one of my favorites, awkward. I mean, how awkward is that? One way to describe awkward is that it's the opposite of graceful. Awkwardness is the opposite of grace. Therefore, a ballerina is graceful. My dad and me dancing at my wedding, maybe a little bit awkward. Our movements just weren't in sync, we weren't flowing, we were not looking graceful out there, let's just put it that way. Now, a lot of people like to say, of course awkward exists in Spanish, it's incómodo. No. Incómodo means uncomfortable. Yes, you are getting close to the feelings of awkward, but you are certainly not exploring all of the connotations. A human being can be awkward. Napoleon Dynamite, anyone? An entire stage of your life can be awkward. Puberty, hello. Awkward people tend to make other people feel awkward, and awkward situations and awkward silences are just awkward. In Spanish, we have a really cool term called pena ajena, which means external embarrassment. You are feeling embarrassed for someone else who's probably being awkward. Is awkwardness contagious? The jury's still out on that one. Either way, I love the word and I don't want to overuse it because it's going to lose its meaning. But let's be grateful that we have it in the English language. Moving on to word number 8. Hater. Who hasn't heard of haters? It's such a thing right now. It's almost like a confused fan, someone that's obsessed with criticizing you, someone who loves to hate on you. Would you believe that there's no word for hater in Spanish? Hate is odio. Hater could technically be odiador. That's just not right. Aborrecedor or persona que odia. But nobody's gonna be using those terms anytime soon. Hater just nails it. And that's why you're gonna hear a lot of Spanish speakers using the term. Hey, Spanglish exists for a reason. Sometimes there just isn't a good word in the language you're speaking. Persona negativa, negative person, just doesn't have the same ring to it. The 9th English word that does not translate directly into Spanish is mean. Yes, and I'm not talking about significar or querer decir, which mean to mean, as in the meaning of something, the definition of something. I'm talking about a mean person, a kid who's being mean on the playground at school. There's just not a way to say that. You can say es malo, it means he's bad, or se portó mal conmigo, he acted badly with me or toward me. In Mexico, we have something called mala onda, which is like bad vibes. But again, we're not getting those connotations of being aggressive, of attacking someone, of purposefully hurting people, of caring about no one other than themselves. It's not all wrapped in there in a beautiful package like it is with the word mean. And by beautiful, I mean terrible. The 10th English word that does not translate directly into Spanish is another one of my favorites. It is something we see all the time and it has become more and more popular over the last few years. I'm talking about the word cringe. Oh! know, what are the things that make you cringe? No, honestly, I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments. How would you describe cringing in a language where cringe doesn't exist? It's quite a task. I already tried to do it on my Spanish video. I don't know if I succeeded. Now in Mexico we have something called sentir ñañaras, which is to feel that. I feel like that gets pretty close to the whole idea of cringing, but again, I'm pretty sure this is very, very Mexican. And just to make things a little bit more exciting, we have cringe-worthy, of course, and cringy. Nobody wants to be called cringy, am I right? Now, if you talk about a coworker and say, his presentation was pretty cringy, it's kind of like it embarrassed you, right? It's that concept that I was talking to you guys about. Pena ajena. You're feeling embarrassed for him. It's definitely along those lines, and I feel like awkward and cringe are also quite related. If you're trying to describe the word cringe to one of your Spanish-speaking friends, you can say, es un sentimiento de pena, vergüenza y angustia. And that's it, guys. Those are 10 words that I really enjoy in English that are not available to the general public in Spanish, aka there's just not a good translation for them. It's just one more reason to celebrate our language and the beauty of different languages, because believe me, there are some words in Spanish that I'm going to be telling you guys about later that I really wish existed in English. You guys already know you can watch the Spanish version of this video to brush up on your Spanish and hear some new insights. The link will be in the description if you guys are interested, and also I have launched my new and improved website where I will be including my English and Spanish classes so that you guys have more tools and resources and see everything in one place. I have my blog there, I've got a few more surprises for you guys, so definitely go check it out. It was really fun to put together. I have some gorgeous templates and I feel like a professional. So if you're an artist, a designer, an illustrator, a business owner, a blogger, anyone that wants to have a professional presence out on the web, I definitely recommend Squarespace. They were super easy to use. I really loved all of the templates. Depending on what you want to do, if you want to show off your photography, if you want to write, they have a template for everything and they are all absolutely stunning. Plus, my favorite thing is that they have 24/7 support. I had lots of questions transferring my blog over from WordPress, and they helped me every step of the way. Don't forget, guys, if you use my link, you can save 10% off your first purchase. That's squarespace.com/superholly. It will also be in the description. Also, leave a comment if you've used Squarespace in the past, if you have any tips for me, if there are things that you'd like to see on my website. I am always down to hear from you guys. You know that's my favorite thing, the comments on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe even learned a thing or two. I'll see you guys very soon. Bye.